Welcome! We are so excited to have you on yet another episode of SISTA Talk on Elevate TV. My name is Nenoh Ndiema, and just in case you're joining us for the first time, my goodness, you have so much that you can watch and rewatch on YouTube. Just go to Elevate, look for Elevate TV Kenya or SISTA Talk. You should find us there. Have time to watch about motherhood, nutrition. We have so many other things that we keep discussing for sisters, for mothers, for women, for even for men, it can be helpful. So in case you want to talk to us on our social media handles at Elevate TV Kenya. We'll be glad to hear from you. Today, one more today. I always say today we have an exciting episode, but imagine for me, it's really a blessing. So we have an episode we want to discuss, something that, it's called an elephant in the room. This one is an elephant for sure. Because mothers and wives and women are trying to balance their lives, and there is chaos. Every time you're like, what do? I want to be a good mother. I want to be a good wife. I want to also work. I also need to get food on the table. Perhaps you're the only one who's who's providing for your family. And you're like, my goodness, it's too much. So today we want to talk about work-life, balance. Work-life balance, because it's important for you to know, how do I do all this that you're telling me to do? Self-care, go to church and serve, and still be a mother and a wife. So we want to talk to one woman, powerful woman of God, who actually wears quite a number of hats on only one head. I mean, even I am sitting down to just hear, how does someone do all that and still stay saved, stay alive, and still achieve success in a worthwhile manner? So we have a great guest. Trust me. Her name is Mary, but I'll allow her to introduce herself just to be fair. Welcome, Mary, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Kindly introduce yourself, because I don't do justice.
My name is Mary Furi. Mm-hmm. I am a born-again Christian. Mm-hmm. I love the Lord Jesus with all my heart. Mm-hmm. I've allowed him to be Lord of my life, and I love being led by him.
Wow.
I am happily married to one Edward Furi.
Oh, wow.
And God has blessed us with two wonderful sons, Thayo and Wega. And in addition to that, I am passionate about people.
Really?
I love people, and I love to use every opportunity that God has given me to point to the life of another person.
Wow.
So in a nutshell, that's who I am.
So why are you not a pastor? Because I thought everyone who loves people must be in the pulpit, cutting all the ndimis and telling people about Jesus. I mean, really? How do you love people? But I didn't hear you being a pastor.
I think I would not make a good pastor at all.
I love people. I would not make a good pastor. Don't go in the same sentence.
I think being a pastor and being pastoral are two very different things.
Okay.
A pastoral person can have a calling towards people, can have a calling to point to the lives of people, but they may not necessarily serve where there is a pulpit. So I love people. I could be pastoral in that sense, but I am not called to be in the pulpit. If I preached a sermon, it might be very different from the people who are gifted to preach sermons. So that's my area of calling.
So you think you found your line? You think you found your place of purpose and your...
Yes.
So tell us all a million hats you wear. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you know I have to make it look like it's a million. But yes.
So I am a wife, very happily married, and I thank God for that. It's a privilege that
How many years?
I get to enjoy every single day. This is our 11th year.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I am also a mother, like I mentioned, and that's another privilege that I get to enjoy every single day.
Wow.
I work. I am formally employed by one of the financial institutions in this country.
Where?
So
you're busy?
Yes.
Okay.
You can say so.
The hats are getting many. I can say so.
You can say so. You can say I'm busy. You wouldn't be wrong. And I work as someone who heads the back office unit of that financial institution.
Okay.
So it's a pretty engaging role.
It must be.
I also am a student completing my master's.
Where?
I am specializing
in... If where was an emoji.
I'm specializing in marriage and family therapy.
Wow.
So I'm taking the broader unit of a master's in psychology.
Wow.
I also am a pastor's wife. So
where?
I'm married to a reverend.
Where? allowed. That's a hat on its own. I think that should be your career, surely.
Well, turns out, things are different.
Okay.
So I serve with him in church.
Okay.
I serve alongside him in church.
Okay.
So we have all of, all the pastoral duties.
Yes.
I do my best to,
of course,
to share. I also serve on the worship team in our church.
Hey. Okay. My head feels heavy on your behalf.
And like every other Kenyan, look for alternative ways to an alternative source of income.
Income, yes.
So there are all of these things that I do. And,
yes.
Those are the hats I wear. I wear them. Sometimes I'm wearing 2 hats in a day. Other days I'm wearing 4. Other days I'm wearing all 6.
That's true.
Yeah, those are the many hats I wear.
My goodness. Sorry, the frown on my face is, how does one do that? When you were growing up, did you ever see yourself getting to the point where you're balancing things? Maybe you used to see your mom do a few things here and there, and you'll be like, me when I grow up, I'll just, I'll free my life and focus on this and this and this. Did it turn out the way you used to imagine it would? Really?
Absolutely not.
Including being a reverend's wife?
That caught me by surprise. It was not in...
You falling in love caught you by surprise.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right about that. Actually, for me, marriage, when I finally understood the concept of marriage and having a family, it was not in the list of things I wanted to accomplish. It was not in one of the things that I was really looking forward to do. So I'm one of those people who, I would say, God found me and gave me a husband. Wow. I was not busy focusing on, when I'll get married, or who I will get married to.
Yeah.
So as I was growing up, back to your question, I remember seeing my mother. My mother was employed. She was running a family business, but was formally employed in it.
Okay.
And she also ran businesses on the side to supplement her income.
Wow.
So in my mind, the concept of doing more than one thing was very, I was open to it.
Oh, really?
But I did not know the extent to which I would be in her shoes, or the extent to which that would play out in my life in the future.
Yeah.
I was not aware of it.
Yeah.
So that caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
Because I grew up seeing her, go to work, but still do a few things here and there to supplement her income. But, it never quite hit me that I would be doing much more than that. Yeah. So was there a model for me to follow? Mildly.
Yes, from mom, okay.
Yes, there was a very mild model for me to follow from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you get here and now your life is this busy. Your life has everything and anything. Like seriously, we've heard of work-life balance. You need to have a balance. Is that something that really exists? Because we are all looking.
I always felt like there has to be a balance.
Yes.
Like you have to be, if you're giving 20%, if you have 100% to give, then you have to be giving 20 equally to all of these things that you do with your life. Yeah. But when you think about it practically, when you think about it logically, and when you want to apply integrity to it, there is no possibility that I will be able to give 20% to my home, 20% to my work, and still succeed. Yeah. So we realize that the concept of bias needs to apply in our lives for us to be successful, because just like him, which I think is very helpful for him, he also wears a many hats.
Oh, really? He's just not pastor and home?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
So how many hats are in this house? Well, and still 2 more boys. But he has many hats on his...
Very many.
Having to wear many hats.
Yes. Very, very many
hats.
More than mine.
And ministry already is...
Ministry is already involving.
Wow.
But our concept as a family is, let us work while it is day.
Okay. Okay.
So let us do all that we need to do while it is still
That's
day.
True.
So work-life bias has helped us because we are able to, if I'm at work, then I give my all. I take my A game. When I'm at home, my A game is on.
Same thing. Wow.
When I go to church, my A game is on. When it's time to sit down with my friends and have a cup of coffee, my A game is on.
Wow.
When I'm sitting down to be a daughter to my parents, my A game is on.
Wow.
When it's time for me and the Lord, my A game is on.
Oh, wow.
So you have to bias. So the time that is allocated to that activity, you're committed to that particular time, you bias towards it.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and then that also helps me because if I am able to put systems and structures in place to carry over some of the burden, of some of the things, tasks that you don't really need to carry through the whole day, then it helps me give my 100%. It helps me bias the activity that I'm handling at that particular time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that. Work-life bias. I mean, that's our new one. We'll be saying, do you have work-life? Do you have work-life?
Yeah.
You know, I've had you say the part of integrity, and I think it also ties up with excellence. How do you achieve it? Because you've said your A game is on, but seriously speaking, you have barely slept. At least you said you're a mother. So when we say you have barely slept sometimes, you have a lot to probably prepare for the next day. You have an early morning meeting. How do I still give excellence, and how do I even maintain integrity? Because again, if I'm to steal from something, I'd probably think, let me steal from my workplace.
Yeah.
So you go to the office, but you sleep.
Yeah.
Or you go to the office and you're in the car and you're, you know?
Yes.
How do I still, apply excellence and be excellent at what I am doing?
Yeah. I think one of the things that carries me through, and it would be not integrous of me to say that I am excellent all the time.
Okay.
And in everything I do, it's not an accurate
statement. Wow.
There are times when I fail.
Okay.
So the first thing I've learned to do with myself in the area of excellence is to do something called forgiveness banking.
Oh, really?
That's my own concept.
We can borrow. We're borrowing terms, bias.
I deposit forgiveness for myself every day because I am relying on God's grace to carry me through the day. If He has forgiven me prior to my shortcomings, then I also apply the same policy on my life so that I'm not so driven. And then when one small thing goes wrong, I collapse. Yeah. And all other things, you will struggle. Or I now struggle with a lot of shame, feeling like I am a failure. So the first thing I have done is but it's a work in progress. It's a cross I carry every day. Forgiveness banking. So I forgive myself in advance for anything that I'll not be able to do perfectly or to my own standards.
That's true.
Then number two, I try to remember that I am a witness all the time. When I go to work, I have already told my colleagues that I am a born-again Christian.
Oh, wow.
I am professing Jesus Christ. So then my work should be a reflection of the faith that I profess.
That's true.
Number three, I try to set standards for myself, and they are very simple. And that's one of the words. I like to be known for standards and excellence.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you put that on yourself as an expectation?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Standards and excellence. And it's not just at work.
Wow.
It's at home.
Wow.
When I am preparing a meal for my family, the same zeal with which I apply at my workplace is the same zeal with which I go into my kitchen. When it's time to, look through my children's homework, I apply the same standards that I apply at work. So, and it's not work fast. I give it all of my energy and I have no energy left for excellence at home. It's also, excellence in how I am balancing and how I am presenting myself in all of these activities that I have in a day.
Wow.
But again, I'd like to say, I came to that point, I think, probably 2 years ago.
Because I meant to ask you, you sound very calm. Like we should all be, I give excellence, I'm known for excellence. I'm like, seriously? Did you start off like this? Because I believe...
No.
Tell us about that.
This was very early in our marriage because that's when I had the experience of, it was my first time to be married and holding a very busy job.
Yeah.
I would go home after having given my entire energy to work.
True.
So when I get home, I am only giving what in Kiswahili we call bakshishi.
Leftovers.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
So I have no energy to cook. I have no energy to keep my home clean. I have no energy to even engage, and I was always burnt out until the next morning. Yeah.
Which would still not be okay, but you'd have to go back to work.
I would have to go back to work because this is a commitment that's in place, and I want to have the job, so I have to go back the next morning. So I struggled. I really struggled. Then when we got our first child, I started telling myself, this is not worth it, I started telling myself, I should not be working these long hours, and I'm a parent. And I cried to God a lot about that. And actually, my prayers around that time were largely complaints.
Your complaints around that time were largely prayers.
I wrote the second book of Lamentations all by myself. No assistance from anyone. I wrote it, published it, and it is a bestseller. I complained to everyone who was close to me at that time. I complained to God. I complained to my husband. I was constantly complaining.
What were you asking for?
I was asking for something that I was not sure of. Because what I was asking for at the time was, I want time to be a mother to my child.
Yeah.
But already I had time to be a mother to my child.
And you are a mother, even as you're saying you want time.
Yes. Wow. So even the time when I should have spent being a mother, I was spending it complaining
about how you want time to be a mother. I see you.
Yeah. And then now I compared myself to a lot of people. And at that time in my life, we had some people who I consider influential in our lives, who had a model that was working for them. The mom was a stay-at-home mom. I kept thinking, that should be my life.
I know, right?
That should be me taking care.
Lord.
Lord, that's what I want. But then I came to realize, after our second child had come, that in Psalm 16, the psalmist says, my inheritance is good.
Wow.
That's what the psalmist said about his life.
Yes.
That's what he said about his circumstances. That's what he said about the things that God had given him. That my inheritance is good.
Yeah.
And that word just hit me really hard.
Wonderful.
It hit me really hard. What were the things that I was constantly saying about the portion that God had given me? He gives me a job, whereas there are people who are looking for a job, and I'm constantly looking for a way out.
And complaining about it
while I am there. Yeah. And, lamenting the way I need to be home with my children. I need to watch them grow. I need to be present. And not considering the things that God had placed in my hand at that time.
So true.
And calling them a good inheritance. So, but that also was not a process of instant transformation.
Clearly.
It took time.
Okay.
But then slowly I got into just associating myself with people who showed me that there is a way to appreciate what you have now and do the best
you can
with it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So it was a very, very long process. And to this day, I want to be candid about that. To this day, there are still some of those complaint prayers.
Yeah.
I'm still, writing one more chapter of Lamentations.
That shorter one.
I'm still writing chapters of Lamentations, talking about God the way I would want to have more time. But then I get to pause sometimes and ask myself, what I have now, what have I done with it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's why I think I endeavor to take my A game.
Wow.
Into every situation that I go into.
Wow.
But there are some points of failure sometimes, but thankfully the grace that God gives us is sufficient and it is relevant for each situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So your inheritance may not be mine.
No.
Our inheritances can be different.
Yes.
Other mothers are stay home, other mothers have 20 hats to wear.
Yes.
And the grace is truly sufficient.
And
I love what you said. I love what you said.
Mm.
Okay, so we're about to take a short break, and I'm just listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, why is it that especially moms who are working in terms of being employed, why is it that the home setup and the marriage setup tends to be the one that
suffers.
Let me use the word. I was trying to avoid the word suffers, but now that you said it, why is it that the A game is very easy to apply at work, but when it comes to home and you know, your marriage, and even you just said even being a daughter to your parents is something that should be part of your life.
Yeah.
But some of these things we just quickly we just we not dismiss, but we don't give it as much thought as we should.
Yeah.
Why is it that?
When we go to work, assuming you step into your office at 8 and you have a conventional work day and you leave at 5, it means that all of your energy has gone into the day.
Yeah.
So by the time you get home, you are already tired. Now, depending on your personality also, if you're introverted and your job requires you to talk all day, by the time you are on your way home, you don't want your mouth open at all. You just want to be quiet.
That's true.
And if you're an ambivert like me, you have to have some time where you are mellow before you get into yet another activity. So you spend the whole day working, then you need some quiet time, some time to wind down before you now get into phase 2 of your life.
Yeah.
So I think there is that aspect. There's the aspect of energy, there's the aspect of personality, there's also the aspect of priority. But this one, again, to be fair, does not apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Because there are people whose priorities were their careers.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with having that as a priority.
Yeah.
Some people are just wired that way. The same way we had eunuchs in the times of the Bible, that was their career. There are people who are truly, truly meant to just pursue their careers and it ends there. There are people who are not called to marriage. But because of societal expectations,
they were given pressure.
Yeah, they went ahead and got married.
True.
So for them, it's not really something that they want to be in.
I see.
So they have given themselves 100% at work. So marriage and family life is this other thing that they can do without. Additionally, there's also pressure, especially for ladies. Let me address ladies here. It is said, and I can confirm here today, it is true. A woman needs to do thrice, not twice. A woman, especially in the corporate setup, which is heavily dominated by males, you have to do thrice as much. So twice in terms of performance, and the other equal measure of how you present what you have done. So it takes a lot.
Yeah, true.
It takes a whole lot because you work on productivity. Then you also have to add the pressure of presentation of what you have produced.
I see what you mean.
So that you can be considered, equally good or, fit for the role.
Yeah.
You have to do so much.
Exert yourself much more.
Yes.
Probably than your male counterpart.
3 times as much.
I see you. I hear you.
So, by the time you are getting home, you feel that I've given everything I had to give in the day. Fourthly, which maybe, it's arguable, but might be
your
relevant,
point of view.
is by the time you are absorbing a position, say, of leadership, because this struggle comes mostly as you rise in terms of leadership in the corporate space.
Yeah.
By the time you rise to the position of leadership, you are probably very used to delegation.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's one of the things that needs to get done.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. As a leader in the corporate space, you must be good at delegation. You must be good at management of teams. You must be good at, supervision. So it becomes a way of thinking. It becomes a way of life. So when you get home,
you also delegate.
Yes.
You also delegate.
But now you might delegate, but delegate without structure. You might delegate and delegate without form.
Or even delegate what you shouldn't delegate.
Yes. Okay. Or in your mind, you have already delegated. You are imagining that it will get done.
It will be done.
Because people should see what needs to get done.
Yeah.
And you imagine that they will do it.
That is such a point.
Then it's not done.
Okay.
Right? You delegate even, say maybe initiation of communication with your spouse. You delegate it to them.
Wow. I need us to take a short break because we are clearly delegating, even talking to our spouses.
Yes.
We're taking a short break, but we'll be right back after the break.